What's up you guys and welcome back to the channel. My name is Christian Hansen and today's video I'm gonna be showing you yet another incredible place. I like to call it Jurassic Park, but here in Central Sulawesi they call it Sombori and Labengki. Let's get to it. Selamat pagi guys. It is another beautiful morning here in Indonesia. And it is finally time for me to leave Pulau Buton. Because this morning we will be heading to Kendari once again. But we won't be exploring Kendari. We are going on quite a special trip. It's 8:30 here in Buton, and I just took a ton of selfies here with the staff. They're so sad to see me leave. So guys, terima kasih banyak ya. Alright, but now we got a ferry to catch, so let's go. So guys, we have got roughly 200 kilometers ahead of us today. Good thing is, last time I came to Buton, it was raining like crazy, so it took forever getting to Bao. But today, sun is shining, and I think it's gonna be quite an easy ride today. I'm not gonna share too much with you because I have already documented the journey coming here to Buton from Kendari, but more to come tomorrow because we're going on a very special trip. We've been invited by a very special guest to do a special activity, so really excited about that. And thank you to all of you who watched the Sampella video and donated. That story was posted, that video was posted last week, and it's gone absolutely viral. And good news is, because of all of you guys, we have actually raised more than 100 million extra after the video has gone online. So now we can finish the mosque in Sampella.
I then stepped on the gas and rode nearly 200 kilometers back to Labuan Bajo port in the very top of Buton Island. I then got back on the ferry heading for mainland, where I met some subscribers who had watched my Sampella video, and after safely parking Macha, I then headed upstairs, where I was welcomed back onto the bridge by some old friends.
Alright guys, I'm back on the ferry and look who I've met once again. Selamat siang. Siang. Apa kabar? Hai. And I cannot believe it's already been 3 months since I took the ferry to Buton Island for the first time. But they're so happy I'm back. They have watched the video on YouTube where I included some clips from the ship here last time, so it's good to be back. Always fun to meet friends again that I've met previously during the Sabang Merauke trip. Yeah. And we are back on mainland. Time to go to Kendari once again. Hati-hati di jalan.
That day I met so many happy people that I had previously met on my way to Buton.
Pulau Buton ya? Terima kasih banyak bro ya. Ya, makasih ya bro. And only 8 hours later guys, and we are back here in Kendari. So tomorrow I do have a small surprise for you guys, and then the day after tomorrow we're gonna start our next island adventure. It's been a long day, so istirahat dulu. Let me get some rest, guys, and I will see you guys besok. Good night.
But before starting my trip, there was one thing I had to do first.
Selamat pagi, guys. This morning I've come down to Toko Istana Motor here in Kendari because I have some fantastic news. Ever since I started my journey, I had a really big dream, and today that dream has come true. Because going forward, Machen will only be using local oil products because we are now with Pertamina.
So it was time to change Machan's oil to the Pertamina Enduro Racing 10W40. It's a powerful, good quality synthetic motorcycle oil, approved by the famous VR46 racing team and Valentino Rossi. It has a great scent like bubblegum, but this power juice is for Machan only.
Previously I've used much more expensive motorcycle oils, but the Pertamina Enduro Racing is only 65,000 rupiah per liter. So how will it compare? I will find out when I start riding north next week. But now, it's time to get ready for tomorrow's special trip. So let's go.
It was time to go on another adventure once again. So I crossed the Teluk Kendari Bridge and headed for the port to meet some friends.
Hello, bro. How are you? I'm good. Good. How are you? Good. Nice to finally meet you.
So a couple of weeks ago, I did a speech for the national bank here in Indonesia called Bank Indonesia. And after that, they asked me, Chris, do you want to see what our bank actually does? And I said, yeah, of course, but I'm always traveling. And they said, no problem, we'll come and pick you up. So this morning, I've come to the small port here in Kendari, and they have hired a massive boat that will take us into my 15th province, Central Sulawesi. So let's go and meet the team. It's gonna be an interesting trip.
I had clearly misunderstood the dress code for this trip, as I seemed to be the only one not wearing a white shirt. Paroni and Paang Soka then explained to me that one of the tasks of the central bank is to distribute newly printed bills, or fresh money, to all corners of Central Sulawesi, along with educating the locals about the characteristics of the new 2022 Rupiah banknote series, so they are able to notice if they come across counterfeits. We then took a small break from our currency class, as my balance started to feel a bit off.
So the thing is, the waves are pretty big at the moment. And I get seasick pretty easily. I can feel it already.
And it looked like it was starting to get to the rest of the team as well.
So guys, the thing is, Labengki is actually inside of South East Sulawesi. But the island we're going to today is a little bit more north, Sombori, which actually makes it a part of Central Sulawesi. And that is where we're going to exchange the money, because the Bank Indonesia department I'm with today, they are from Central Sulawesi. So, but these two islands are very close together, so I will of course be visiting both and show you what you can see there.
As you approach Labengki Island, its tall peaks makes it look like a scene from the Jurassic Park movies, with small bounty islands and various of rock formations. We made a quick stop at the Nirvana Resort, where they have a variety of floating villas. This is where the Bank Indonesia team would be staying, but I wanted to stay on Sombori Island, so we dropped off their luggage and headed for Sombori. It had taken us 2.5 hours to go from Kendari to Labengki, but it only takes 1 hour from Labengki to Sombori. And our first stop was the famous bajo village called Desa Mbo Kita. As we approached the small floating village, a tall purple heron catches my attention, and the stunning scenery of the islands surrounding this place. It's not unusual for a bajo family to have more than 5 kids, so there are many, and they are out fishing as their morning classes are finished.
Apa kabar? Baik, sudah dapat? Kecil atau besar? Besar! I think this is gonna be some great days here.
In recent years, Sombori has gained attention as a hidden gem for travelers seeking off the beaten path destinations. So it's not unusual for the 137 residents to see foreigners here. But I can tell that my presence still attracts quite a lot of attention. But our plans for changing the money here were about to take a little detour. Because as always during my travels, the weather had its own ideas.
So guys, we have a small situation because right now the tide out here is very high, and that means right now we are kind of covered by all these small islands, but the boat that is on the way with the money that we're supposed to exchange here is out there, and the waves are very big, and they just sent a message asking if they can go back because they're saying it's really risky. So right now we're not even sure if the money boat can get here. So plus, there are people living in this village. There are people living over there. And Bank Indonesia, they have arranged for all these people to come here and meet here today. More than 100 people, so that they could change their old money into the new money. So, yeah, a lot of people waiting for the new money to come, but let's see if the weather will allow it. And now it's raining.
So after chatting a bit with the locals, by using some of the bajo words I had learned in Wakatobi, we then gathered all the residents in the small community hall, where the Bank Indonesia team wanted to educate the locals about the new bills first. They did this in a really smart way, because instead of just having everyone in their seats listening to a long explanation, they invited all the kids up first and gave them a 5,000 rupiah bill to hold up, while Paroni explained its characteristics. And once they had learned, they got to keep the bill. Then the Ibus were invited to learn about the 10,000 rupiah bill, and then the Bapaks for the 20,000 rupiah bill. Cash payments are the daily standard in remote villages like this. So we also taught them about the more modern way by using the Quick Response Code Indonesian Standard, or better known as QRIS, a way to quickly make payments by using your phone, and the future of making payments in Indonesia. I then had the honor of sharing my perspective as a traveler in Indonesia and give them my best tips for improving the tourism in their village. I shared the inspiring story about the local content creator Pa Ambo in East Kalimantan and his journey from fisherman to becoming a YouTuber. I told them the importance of not having trash laying around when tourists come to visit. I taught them how they can create content both to attract tourists but also to generate an income from affiliate marketing, or even from selling homemade souvenirs to visiting tourists, and how much I paid for mine when I visited Wakatobi, in order to give them an understanding about the potential extra income that they can generate. I wasn't sure whether my speech would make an impact or not, but shortly after, a kind local came up to me and showed me the trash that he had already collected. Sharing knowledge is good, but what's even better? Selfies.
Alright guys, this has been just a fantastic afternoon. And you can just tell that it was making such a big impact on them. So I really feel like we did a difference today. So unfortunately the new currency hasn't arrived yet, so we can't change it because the weather out there is still not too good. So now we're gonna get on the boat and go for a quick tour around. Hopefully, oh, that looks like rain. Well, we'll see. That's the thing about traveling. Our schedule always changes depending on the weather. But so far, so happy. This is so much fun. And I'm so honored to do this kind of project with National Bank. Maybe it's just me, but I think it's so cool. Such an honor. Okay, mari.
But as the clouds started pulling up and the weather wasn't the best, we decided to split up, and the Bank Indonesia team set course back to Labengki, and Oka and myself headed for our stay for the night in Sombori.
The weather is so bad, but that's how it is sometimes. So the place we'll be staying here is called Khayangan, and it means paradise in Javanese, yeah? Yeah. It'll be good to get some rest. Saya lapar.
Okay, perfect.
Oke, makasih Pak.
Ya, makasih Pak. Ya. Welcome.
Selamat datang di Puncak Khayangan Resort Pulau Sombori. So if you're looking for a travel experience that's not crowded with a ton of other tourists, this is definitely the place to go. Oh, they have itu resto?
Yes, this is our restaurant.
Oh, hey, ada resto juga. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Apa kabar?
Baik.
Baik. Ada burger, pizza di sini?
Oh, Indomie.
McDonald's. Salam kenal, saya Chris. Jadi gimana kalau mau bikin booking di sini? Tidak bisa sama Agoda atau Traveloka ya?
That's the problem.
Belum.
Ya, belum.
So my friends from Traveloka, guys, please help so that it's possible to book this place on Traveloka platform.
We then checked into the Sombori Resort. It's built on wooden bridges all around this small island, surrounded by palm trees. Our small floating house costed 1 million per night and had 2 rooms, one for each of us. And Oka then told me an interesting fact about the many small beaches that we could see here in Sombori.
So that is actually a thing, that if you see a beach and there's a coconut tree, it means that someone owns the beach.
Yes.
But if you see a beach there's no coconut tree?
Yeah, you can just plant your coconut tree and then someday they will remember.
Oh, yeah?
It's yours.
Tomorrow we need to go looking for beaches and I will be planting trees everywhere.
The rooms aren't the most fancy, but that's alright, because we were there for the attractions. And the electricity is only on after 6 p.m. as it's run by gensets.
What a view! Very nice. Ooh, fancy.
The staff here had then cooked us a proper bajo dinner, which we would enjoy with a view over the ocean. Rice and sambal, the Indonesian chili sauce, and a variety of grilled fish, including my favorite, the red snapper. Pa Oka is an incredible guy, super humble, and his knowledge about anything related to Indonesian culture and its history blows my mind. So we sat there and chatted until 10 o'clock at night in the subtle ocean breeze. The bajo are humble people as well, but Ardi, Imam, Jamal, and Kila eventually agreed to let us give them the rest of our fish.
Minak sekali? Oh, ya, minak. Minta ya?
Ya, minta.
Minta.
Selamat malam guys. It is 10:30.
It is bedtime here.
in Sombori. I'm in my small room. Just took a shower, unpacked a bit, charging the batteries over there, and now it's bedtime. Unfortunately, the waves are so big that the Bank Indonesia team, they have to go back tomorrow because they don't have as long time here as I do. So tomorrow I'm on my own, but hopefully first thing tomorrow morning before they go back, we can exchange the new money, the new bills. So time to get some sleep. 10:30 now, and I gotta wake up at 4 o'clock before we go and check out the sunrise. So good night, guys.
Selamat pagi, guys. It is 10 minutes past 5 here in Sombori, and we are on our way to go and see if we can catch the sunrise. So the weather forecast these days are not looking fantastic, but fingers crossed. It does look a little bit cloudy, but fingers crossed. So today the Bank Indonesia team will be going back to Kendari, and I am on my own, and we will be exploring for the next 4 or 5 days here in, and I will be exploring for the next 4 or 5 days here in Sombori on my own. So many places to see here. I barely know where to start, but we'll find a way. For now, a cup of coffee, because I only had 4 hours of sleep. Got up at 4 to get ready, so kopi dulu. Oh yeah, and Baoka, he didn't hear his alarm, so he woke up like 5 minutes ago, put on his clothes, and he was ready. Selamat pagi. Kopi dulu. Selamat pagi, bro.
And so, happy that we were able to make it for sunrise, we sailed right across from the resort to Khayangan 2. It only takes 2 minutes to climb to the top. But you do have to be careful, because there isn't any rail there, and that is what Bank Indonesia wants to help build. Because just last year, right where I was standing, someone fell off the sharp cliffs and passed away.
Wow, okay. I can tell why Bank Indonesia is trying to help to make this a more popular tourism spot, more safe and a better tourism spot, because this is an incredible morning view. Wow.
And at 5:45, we were ready. On the top of that small rocky island, eagerly awaiting the sunrise, with our eyes fixed on the distant horizon. The mountain ridge loomed ahead, where the first light of dawn would soon break. As the sun finally crested over the peaks, we would feel its warm rays on our faces. And in that moment, the view transformed, a living painting of warmth and wonder. This place might not have as many small islands as in Raja Ampat, Papua. But that morning, there were no other tourists in sight. We had that majestic view all to ourselves.
Absolutely fantastic morning experience here from Sombori. I was a little bit worried about the weather, but now it is just turning out to be perfect. So now we're gonna head to Mbokita Village, and the money boat that has been stuck on a small island since last night due to the tough weather and the high tide, they have now made it to the village. So let's go and exchange some fresh money in a remote island village. I simply have to say it's on mornings like this that I cannot fathom that this is my office and that I get to do this on a weekly or monthly basis. Sometimes we really have to remind ourselves to be grateful for what we already have achieved, because what we have today is something that we once wished that we could have.
Jamal then told me that it was perfectly normal that our boat was taking on water. So, with those reassuring words, we headed back to the Mbokita Village. But as we say in Indonesia, sarapan dulu. During these kind of trips, I can almost predict what the breakfast will be, as it's usually the same. Fried noodles, rice, and a fried egg. And after a long night, the money transport had finally arrived. And it was the first time that I had ever seen a money transport that wasn't in an armored truck. Due to the big waves, the box filled with cash had been fitted with a life vest. Something they told me that they had previously had to learn the hard way. A transport like this is always accompanied by 2 officers carrying Indonesian-made SS2 assault rifles. But don't be fooled, these guys, they might look friendly, but if needed, they actually have a license to kill should someone attempt to rob the transport. The money table is then set up in the middle of the small town square, and all the residents gather around to change their old bills, even the youngsters. Nenek unfortunately learns that some bills, if in really poor condition, cannot be changed. But that is exactly the reason why Bank Indonesia comes out here, so that Nenek don't have to worry about that anymore.
So what will happen to the old money after this?
So we are bringing all of the old and broken money, and then we are going back to Bank Indonesia and then destroy it. And then become the waste, and then we change it into energy. So it will become the more sustainable way.
It was unfortunately time for the BE team to go back home. But first, a few tips from Paroni on how you can check a Rupiah bill.
Guys, Sobat Rupiah, untuk mengalih ke asal uang rupiah cukup dengan 3D. Pertama dengan dilihat, diraba, dan diterawang. Mudah bukan?
Alright guys, see you, yeah? Bye! Such a fantastic team, the Bank Indonesia team here in Central Sulawesi. Wow. I wish they could join for longer because we have had so much fun. And it's been so interesting to learn about what it is that the central bank they do. Yeah. Let's continue exploring, guys. And let's go back to Sombori.
The team had then left, and I was by myself once again, in traveling a remote island in the world's largest archipelago. But for some reason, I never feel alone or unsafe, because the locals around me always makes me feel like I'm one of them. And that makes me feel like I'm home. As we had been up at 4 a.m. and I had some late night activities planned, I took a quick nap. Or so I thought. Because when I woke up, it looked like this.
Selamat malam, guys. So, my small midday nap ended up being a 5-hour nap because the last many weeks have been so hectic, flying from Wakatobi, Buton, Jakarta, Khayangan, Jakarta, Denmark. So it's been a little bit hectic,
And I think my watch has told me that for the last 3 weeks I've had an average of 5 hours of sleep per night. So much needed rest. And now I've come up to the resto to have some dinner with the guys, and they just had a lot of kittens. So we're taking care of them. I don't think this one is very happy with me. So the 4 guys that work here all work for the local government here and taking care of this resort. They used to be fishermen and now they are the keepers here of the resort. So we're just sitting here and talking a bit about the guys' expenses in 1 month. And you know, every night they eat together, they cook together, they catch fish themselves so they don't have to buy. The only thing they have to buy is rice or noodles. And you know, in 1 month, 4 guys, all they spend for food is 1 million rupiah. They don't use oil to fry, they grill it, the fish. Imagine that, 4 people spending only 1 million rupiah in total, so 250,000 rupiah per person for food in 1 month. I have such a massive respect for that.
Most nights, the guys will go out after dinner to look for various fish, lobsters, sea cucumbers, and sea urchins. So I decided to join to get a feel for how it's like.
So guys, the thing that we are trying to find tonight is called teripang, and you know it as sea cucumber. So what they're doing right now is they're scouting for the sea cucumbers, and then they will catch it with the spear, and then they will go down in the water to check for more.
We did find 1 sea cucumber, but apparently this wasn't the good one. We were looking for the expensive ones called gamma. And eventually, Kila actually found one for us.
Jadi harus cari berapa untuk 1 kilo?
40 biji.
Ini teripang mahal. Mau dimakan tidak bisa karena takut merugikan. Jadi ini teripang harus dijual. Kalau teripang lain bisa dimakan.
Dia ini harganya dalam 1 kilo dia ini 300.000.
Kila then caught a very special kind of fish, a puffer fish. As a defense mechanism, it inflates to more than double its size. If it's in the water, it will fill up with water, and if it's out of the water, it will fill up with air. Some puffer fish can be extremely poisonous, even enough to kill a human being. But this one is safe enough to eat. We didn't find much more that night though, so we decided to continue again in the morning.
Selamat pagi guys. It is another early morning here in Indonesia. Well, let me just say this. If you ever have to wake up at 4:30 in the morning to go fishing and you have a little bit of trouble waking up, then pouring ice cold water on yourself from a bucket, well, that is a great way to wake up. You will wake up really fast, I'll tell you that. So it is now 5:30. I had my coffee, so let's go up and meet the guys.
But if there's something that we always have enough time for in Indonesia, it's 1 more cup of coffee. RD, Jamal and myself then got back on the water and sailed around 45 minutes away from the resort. RD tells me that the waters here aren't what they used to be. There aren't as many fish anymore due to the presence of nearby industry. But we were only here in this area for one very specific reason.
Oke, kita mancing umpan dulu untuk persiapan yang lebih besar. Kita mancing umpan sedikit-sedikit ini. Wah, kecil teman-teman nih. Bentar kita pindah di sana, mancing besar.
We then changed our position to a nearby lagoon, where our odds of catching the larger fish would be greater.
Oke guys.
It didn't seem like our odds had increased at all. But Jamal, he seemed to have his own theory about why that was.
Jamal, kenapa belum ada strike?
Karena ikannya belum makan, lagi puasa.
Lagi puasa. I think this would be the most challenging thing if I were to be a fisherman, sitting and waiting for so many hours, hoping that you'll catch something, and maybe just sitting for hours not catching anything.
Jamal eventually caught a couple of groupers, but he will need more than 1 kilo just to get 30,000 rupiah. And it was what he said next that reminded me about the importance of being grateful.
Gimana bro rasanya kalau sudah mancing berapa jam dan hanya dapat
4 ekor.
Aha, gimana rasanya?
Sakit.
Sakit ya.
Kecewa. Tapi alhamdulillah satu kesyukuran dapat 4 ekor itu sudah lumayan. Karena bisa kasih makan anak istri. Alhamdulillah. Good.
Bagus bro. Alright guys, so it is time for some sarapan, and this morning Mbokita here has actually cooked the duri that we caught yesterday. Wow, you can hear when he's opening it, it's very crispy. Alright, so the meat is all white inside. It's time to test it. A little bit chewy and a little bit fishy smell because I seen that it's been laying on the bridge since last night when we caught it.
Hatinya.
Oh, ini hati?
Iya.
Wow, so this is the heart. Ini makan ya?
Iya, dimakan. Enak dia.
Good. Nice. Pahit-pahit sedikit.
The taste is kind of like liver taste. Tidak suka.
Pahit.
Maaf ya.
Iya.
Pahit.
Makasih Om.
Iya.
Makan hatinya.
Enak.
Pahit. Mantap. Awat.
Alright guys, my bags are packed and it is time to change to a new accommodation here in Sombori. This is gonna be definitely less fancy, it's gonna be even more remote, but it's also gonna be very unique. So let's get on the boat, let's get the day started. I hope that some of you will want to visit Khayangan Resort one day. It is some really good guys that work here, so massive thank you to Imam, to Kila, Jamal and Ardi. They've done such a great job.
On our way, we passed a small resort that had been built in 2018. Unfortunately, during my trip, I often come across places like this. Building something is quite easy, but managing it and maintaining it requires a lot of effort. So this place had just been left to die. It's such a shame, because it's places like this I think could have great potential here. Wooden-made, floating villas. Sombori has so much potential. It just needs the right kind of investors. People that are actually interested in seeing it succeed long term. There is actually a jellyfish lake in Sombori as well, but as I had already visited one in East Kalimantan, I wanted to go to a hidden gem that most tourists don't think to visit. We then went through a small passage that's only open during the high tide, and we then arrived at a small lagoon only occupied by a single family. This old wooden house is known as Rumah Nenek, grandmother's house. Nenek used to live here by herself, tending to her fishing net after her husband's passing. But a couple of years ago, Nenek passed, and her daughter and her husband built a house next to Nenek's, so they could continue to take care of the fishing nets.
Selamat siang. Apa kabar? Baik.
Nenek's house is no longer being used. Both houses are built on wooden poles, standing on top of the ocean, with an incredible view of the mountains surrounding the lagoon. In the back, they have a large open kitchen for cooking and dining. They have their living room/bedroom, and right in front of their house is their business and sole source of income, the big fishing net.
Selamat siang, Pak.
Ya, siap.
Apa kabar?
Biasa.
Ya, biasa.
Bapak Syarif comes back from his morning fishing trip, and Ibu then prepares coffee for all of us so that we can sit down for a chat, because Pak Syarif had plenty of stories to tell. So he would tell me a unique story about a special creature he once caught in his net by accident, and a bit about his life as a fisherman today versus the good old days.
Kadang banyak.
Kadang banyak.
Ya, kadang juga sedikit. Jadi tidak menentu. Seandainya kita bisa tahu dalam 1 bulannya 1 ton saja.
1 ton dalam 1 bulan?
Itulah saya bilang, seandainya begitu 1 bulan, 1 ton saya tidak usah banyak. 1 hari. Jadi 1 bulan.
Tapi masih bisa dapat 1 ton? Atau?
Mana sekarang tidak bisa.
Oh, tidak bisa dulu ya?
Dulu. Bahkan 10 ton lebih. 1 kali masuk.
Dari mana? Dari mereka dari sana
sini.
ke
Sana lewat. Kalau sini tidak bisa. Itu yang sedikitnya 1 ton. 10 ton ada lebih.
Jadi dulu bisa dapat banyak uang ya?
Dulu. Sebelum meninggal nenek.
Tapi sekarang tidak ada seperti dulu. Kenapa?
Nah, ikannya juga banyak. Gimana tahu? Mungkin dari kita tidak tahu juga bagaimana ini.
Ikan-ikan mau jalan-jalan ke Filipina atau Thailand.
Thailand.
Seperti bulan lalu. Dapat
Lalu.
berapa kira-kira?
Ini bulan. Pertama 50 kilo.
50 kilo ya.
50 kilo.
Jadi kalau Bapak jual 50 kilo bisa dapat berapa totalnya?
1 juta gitu kalau harga 20.
1 juta.
1 juta. Berapa hari dipakai 1 juta? Paling 2 hari habis.
Ya kalau merokok ini terus betul.
Jadi mau merokok lain tidak bisa juga.
Ya.
Mana beras, mana gula, mana kopi. Habis 1 juta.
Ya, cepat.
Paling 2 hari.
Ya.
Baru harga di sini mahal-mahal juga.
Ya. Jamal juga bilang dulu ada hiu paus masuk sini.
Iya, tahun berapa lalu?
Papa masih ingat?
Saya yang kasih makan.
Ke dia?
Iya.
Besar ya?
5 meter lebih.
5 meter lebih. Papa tidak takut sama dia?
Takut bagaimana, karena dia jalan juga di situ. Tidak ganggu juga orang.
Kenapa hiu paus ke sini?
Ikut cakalang. Sudah dipalang. Tutup manunya, tempat masuknya.
Gitu.
Begitu masuk ikan ditutup dengan luka. Ada jaringnya.
Wah. Gimana Bapak rasanya?
Ikannya diambil dulu, cakalangnya kasih masuk di serong, lalu dibuka hiunya.
Wah, keren. Jadi Bapak dan Ibu punya berapa anak?
Banyak.
Berapa?
10.
10 anak?
10.
Mereka di mana?
Ada yang kawin, ada yang di perusahaan, ada yang di sekolah.
10 anak?
10 tapi tinggal 5. Meninggal 5.
Boleh saya tanya kenapa 5 meninggal? Ada sakit atau?
Iya, sakit. Baru lahir.
Maaf, saya
terharu.
Ya, karena kasihan susah kan?
Iya.
Ya, hati
Iya.
ibu pasti ya. 10. Orang Bajo mereka bagus untuk bikin anak ya. Ya, di desa di mana-mana banyak anak.
Banyak.
Ya.
Kita 13. Satu mama. Ya.
13 saudara.
Iya. Satu nenek, mama.
Wah.
13.
Wah, di negara saya
Bagaimana?
keluarga mungkin satu anak atau dua aja. Karena kalau lebih mahal sekali. Tapi
Ada juga rezekinya.
jadi masih ada 12 saudara atau berapa ada sekarang?
Tinggal 5. Mau habis juga kita ini saudara ini tinggal 5. Apalagi kalau habis 5-5-nya habis nih. Tapi kalau di mana kita punya kampung juga negara kita bagaimana juga modelnya kawin? Cari anak 1, 2.
Ya 1 atau 2. Mungkin 3 karena hidup di negara saya mahal sekali Pak. Wih, semua mahal. Kalau mau makan mahal. 1 liter bensin di Denmark harganya 35.000. 1 liter. Kalau mau beli makanan seperti di warung 1 orang harus bayar minimum 250.000. Itu makanan aja, belum beli minuman. Woi, 1 bungkus ini berapa?
Di sini 36.
Nah, 36. Di sana 200.000. Puh. Jadi tidak bisa rokok 2 bungkus di sana sehari. Nanti boleh kere. Ya.
Ibu then cut up a coconut and used its husk for making a fire so that we could have freshly fried fish for lunch. But here in Sombori, the traditional substitute for rice is called sagu. The starch is acquired from scraping the soft inner parts of a sagu palm tree trunk. It barely has any taste and it's a little bit chewy. But once it's mixed with their traditional chili and fish sauce, it's absolutely delicious.
So guys, as many of you know, my videos from traveling around Indonesia is often focused on culture and helping people I meet along the way. That's why today I'm extremely proud to announce that I've partnered up with Salingjaga from Kita Bisa, Indonesia's largest platform for raising funds for communities and local people. So Salingjaga offers life insurance that is based on a community pooling funds together, helping and protecting each other in case an accident were to occur. And I have this insurance myself as well because I'm always traveling and we never know what might happen. So with Salingjaga, I know that if something were to happen to me, my family are covered and Salingjaga will be there and ready to help them. So I thought today would be a perfect opportunity to share this with you guys because I have just asked Bapa and Ibu if I could gift them a 1-year membership to this insurance along with their 5 children, and they have luckily said yes and are very grateful. And this is just one of the ways that I'm hoping to make a bigger impact and help more people when I travel around Indonesia.
If you want to learn more about Salingjaga's transparent community fund and how you can protect your loved ones, I've put their link in the video description. Before saying goodbye, Bapak Syarif tried out my phone, but he wasn't impressed because his was much smaller and still had a camera.
Ada saya setengah kilo.
Setengah kilo. So Papa and Ibu has asked me if I would please come back to have dinner at their place tonight. So I will do that. Nenek.
But before going to my stay for the night, we went back to Mbokita Village, as I had a surprise for the kids. I quickly met with Bapak Syarif's daughter and showed her how to activate her Salingjaga account. And I then invited all the kids on a small excursion.
Okay guys. Siap. 86. Siapa mau ikut ke pantai kiri? Oke, gas!
Kita mau ke kiri, guys.
The kids were so happy because they rarely get to go around Sombori, as speedboats and gasoline are expensive. They told me it was the first time a tourist had ever brought them on a trip. So we went to the famous beach here called Air Kiri. This place gets its name from a small freshwater pond inside of a rock, where you must put your left hand and take water to wash your face. This is a must when you come to visit Air Kiri.
So, guys, we've had a lot of fun here at Pantai Kiri, and both me and Artie, we're getting a bit tired, but the kids, they just keep playing. They do not want to go home. So we're sitting here and waiting and just enjoying watching them have fun. It really has been a good day.
Good day.
Good day. Good day, yeah.
Coffee.
Coffee, right? See you guys. Dadah. See ya. Terima kasih. Bye-bye.
So, I have arrived at my new accommodation for the night. And it is a floating house. It's actually owned by IMIP, the mining company. So here you can rent one of their rooms though, and it's 500,000 per night. It's a surprisingly good looking room. Very neat, very clean. There's a bathroom out in the back, a small kitchen, and they have 3 people that are living here and like taking care of the place. So they've now made some coffee, and we're gonna sit and have some coffee and a chat together. And then come dinner time, I can actually see Bapak Syarif's house right here behind me. So I'll go over there and have dinner with them. And early tomorrow morning, ID is gonna come and pick me up, and we're gonna go to our last island in this video. So, kopi dulu.
It had been another incredible day in Indonesia. We crossed the calm waters of the lagoon as the sunset lit up the skies. And to show my appreciation for the dinner invitation, I had brought Bapak Syarif something I knew would make him happy.
Oke. Terima kasih.
Sama-sama. Seheku.
Nongkrong on the wooden floorboards. Best way to end the day.
Selamat pagi, guys. It is 8 o'clock here in Sombori, and I've slept fantastic in this floating house as it's rocking a little bit from side to side. Oh, feels like being rocked to sleep like a baby. So it is almost time to finish the Sombori trip, go back to Kendari. But before we do that, I want to stay one night on Labengki Island because they have a quite unique place that you can stay. So Artie and Jamal is now here to pick me up, and we're actually gonna go together. They're gonna join me. So let's grab the gear. We hope the waves are not too big, and let's get started with another incredible day here in Indonesia.
Okay guys, see ya. Makasih. Gas.
But I couldn't just leave without saying goodbye to my sehe.
Selamat pagi seheku.
Selamat pagi.
Seheku means my friend in Bahasa Bajo.
And it was then time to end my trip with a bit of tropical beach vibes.
Alright guys, we have made it to Labengki Beach Hut and it looks incredible.
Welcome to Labengki Beach Hut.
Terima kasih, selamat pagi.
When I think about a paradise island stay, well, this is the kind of view I imagine. A pristine beach with palm trees swaying in the wind, with no more than 15 meters from my room to the ocean. Everything is so lush and green, and to the sound of the ocean, you can rest a bit in the hammock. The beach huts aren't that big, but they aren't made for tourists. They are made for travelers. Here you can read a book or take a nap by the ocean while waiting for your fresh coconut from the palm tree right next to your beach hut.
So as lovely as it is just staying on a beach, relaxing, I can only do that for about 5 minutes. So now, before we end this video, we're gonna go and see one of the most popular destinations here on Labengki, because the weather is fantastic right now. See ya! See ya!
The guys and I then headed to see our final attraction. Located just 10 minutes by boat from Labengki Beach Huts, without a single other tourist inside. We had this place all to ourselves.
Oh my god! This is one unique location, that's for sure.
This place is called the Blue Lagoon, and for a good reason. Hidden behind the sharp cliffs, this is a small tropical paradise. Here you can swim in the small lagoon or take some stunning selfies to the sounds of the many birds who likes to stay around here. I had so much fun together with Artie and Jamal during my stay. So before saying goodbye, I gave them 1.5 million rupiah from my Kita Bisa Khayangan because they had done such a fantastic job. And I sure hope that I will get to meet them again someday.
Alright guys, and that is gonna be it here from my trip in Sombori and shortly in Labengki. My cameras have actually run completely out of memory, and you know what, I've taken it as a sign that maybe I should take half of this day off and just drink some coconut, swim a little bit in the water, and maybe go to bed early. So that's what I'm going to do. Don't forget to visit Sombori and Labengki, and if you do, I would highly recommend you to call my friend Mario that you have seen in my previous videos. He does a lot of trips out to these islands. And stay tuned, because in the next video, Machan and I, we will be traveling from Kendari all the way to Luwu, 1,000 kilometers on our way to visit the Bangai Islands. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next episode, and until next time. Tada, guys.